So today, folks, we're going to talk about toxic emotional alchemy. Toxic emotional alchemy. What is that? What the hell is it? Well, we all get toxic emotions. So let's start. What's a toxic emotion? Well, you can feel that it's toxic. You can feel that it's not good. You can feel that there's something not right, folks, not right. And I did a video on toxic emotions and it got a lot of comments. So I'm going to bring up a few issues or certainly discuss a few of the issues that were brought up. And I'm also going to talk about my experience of dealing with toxic emotions. And for those that are regular on the channel, you'll know that the toxic emotional thing is possibly a little bit of clickbait because we don't do toxic emotions on this channel. What does that mean, Adam? Well, let's talk about what could be considered toxic emotions. What will be toxic emotions if left untreated? Left untreated, folks. Left untreated. So, in the same way that you can take water from a source that's not pure, that could do you harm, and you can purify it, it's exactly the same with your emotional state. That if you leave it and if you indulge that form of the water, it will make you ill. But it can be treated in exactly the same way that it can be treated. It's like a diagnosis for your emotions. And we're going to talk about this today. We're going to talk about toxic emotions, how to alchemize them. We really are going to cover this. And we're going to give you a bit of background as to what can cause it and how to do it. Because one thing's for certain, this process isn't easy. It isn't easy because it's going to involve you losing some core beliefs about the other person involved. So, luckily, the universe has dropped on my plate a situation for me to deal with in the here and now to bring this to life for you beautifully. So, we've talked about issues in your friends and family. We've talked about emotions. We've talked about the emotional sat nav. So, let's talk about that first. Emotions are only toxic if you don't get the message. Every emotion has a positive intent. Let's start there. So, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling guilty, if you're feeling something that would be traditionally associated with negativity, people pushing your buttons, feeling irritated, all of the above, knots in your stomach, little slights that you're having to deal with, putting up with bullshit, reading the news or watching the news at the moment can do that because the world is in a very strange and volatile place right now, my friends. Very strange and volatile, which is part of the emotional, the rise of the emotions. Sounds like a movie, doesn't it? Here we go. It's rise of the emotions. So it could be the machines, could be something like that. But the machine in you, the emotional machine, is rising. It's putting pressure on you to take note. So that's what toxic emotions are. They're only toxic if you start to become a victim and don't read the message that the emotions have for you. So let's start with that. If you're feeling pissed off right now, then being you're being pushed to come up with a solution. You're in a point in your life where you know that there's work to do. You know there's something that you have to do. You're maybe making an excuse not to do it, but it needs to be done. And what happens is the emotional situation will squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and squeeze until you erupt or you do something productive with it. So I'm going to encourage you to do the productive thing because eruption can work, can be momentarily satisfying, but there's usually fallout. So let's bring that to life. Let's bring it to life. What do we do? So I have a nephew, and whenever I ask him to do something, he not just doesn't do it, but does the complete opposite. So if we're in the house together and I tell him to turn the lights off, he'll go around turning the lights off in the middle of the day. Just push that button, just a little dig, little dig. Ask him to clean up after himself. No, he's not going to do that. He's going to deliberately go and fucking throw shit around the house, leave stuff that doesn't get picked up. Wash up your own stuff. No, he's not going to do that. And then he's going to leave more stuff around. So it's not a case of not just doing something, it's amplifying the stuff that I haven't done. And it's reached a point now where I don't even talk to him. I've decided that there's no point trying to communicate with him. For whatever reason, he's being an arsehole, and maybe it's a phase, maybe it's who he is. I don't know. I'd like to think that that's not the case, but for whatever reason, we have hit this point of impasse. So I've chosen not to talk to him. And whenever we're in close proximity, I feel that I'm just on the verge of eruption. So what is that telling me? What's that telling me? There's certain situations, there's certain people we're not going to get any compromise with. We're not going to get any compromise. So what is the happy solution here? Well, the easy one is to spend less time with him. But again, what is the emotion telling me? What's it telling me? It's telling me I need to step up. It's telling me there's other stuff I need to do. And it's true. There's other frustrations in my life that maybe I haven't progressed at the speed that I need to. And so I'm a little bit frustrated. So part of it is, yes, it's definitely arsehole behavior, but it's also stuff that I need to do. I need to step up in other areas. So I took that today earlier. I thought, actually, the universe has given me this for a reason, because I was in alpha mode and I was in absolute no nonsense. And if someone had probably looked at me the wrong way, it could have been a very unsavory reaction. That's toxic emotion, folks. It's toxic emotion. So what have I chosen to do? Well, I decided that I needed to record a video on this to give myself some good advice here. So that's where it starts. Become a teacher. What would I do? How would I counsel my better self to deal with this? Because I know that I've done this hundreds of times. Just reached a stage in my life where I'm not taking any nonsense today, but I'm very good at actually handling situations like this. So I'm going to choose to draw a boundary and just not talk to him. So that's him knowing that enough is enough. I'm not going to react to it. I'm just going to hold my space. I am going to accept that there's certain things in life that I don't have control over. But what I do have control over is I don't care how uncomfortable anyone else in the family feels about me not talking to him. I am no longer here to keep anyone else happy. And part of that ripples, it makes it their problem for not dealing with his bullshit behavior. But now they're going to have to deal with my bullshit behavior. So you take one aspect, they've taken the path of least resistance in pandering to his bullshit, and now they're going to have to pander to mine or not. One way or the other, either I step back and I step out, or the rest of the family realizes that this behavior has now got consequences beyond just keeping one person happy. So there you go. So now I've alchemized this. I can sit in my power and I can just be good with the situation. Let him do what he wants to do. He can be an arsehole if he wants to. That's fine. That's fine. It's not going to affect me emotionally anymore. And that's just an example. That's a personal example of how I can take the most toxic emotions and now I can harmonize them. And what this also does, a situation like this, is allow me to do more energy work to step up my game. So now what I've done is I've taken a negative trigger, an emotional trigger, something perceived negative that could be toxic. And I'm now using that as a reason to do way more energy work than I usually would around this. So I've taken the toxic, potentially toxic mindset and emotion, and I've turned it into a positive. And through filming this and doing the work that I needed to do so I could film this congruently, I now feel better. I've let it go. I've alchemized that negative state and feel currently untouchable by the situation. I'm still not going to talk to him unless the behavior changes, and I'm really comfortable with that. I'm really comfortable, and I don't care who else is affected by it. because the family dynamic through bullshit behavior is to keep the bullshit happy, or with the person with the bullshit behavior is being nice, then let's just forget all of the other stuff that happened. No, not anymore, folks. Not anymore. So that's an example from my own life. I mean, our family is definitely nuts. We have our own brand of lunacy within here, but that's just a good example how to take toxic emotions and alchemize it. And what it enables me to do is to sit right now in my power and to feel better, to radiate out positivity through this video, through this message, folks. So there's an example. There's a very personal example of how to take a very toxic, potentially situation, make a decision that my feelings are more important than anyone else's here, and to make a stand and to be comfortable with any ramifications that come out of that. Because we have to put our own oxygen mask on first, folks. And I'm not serving anyone else on this family by pandering to bullshit behavior. So there's an example. So whatever's going on with you at the moment, there's probably someone that's irritating you, a situation. This is an invitation for you to draw new boundaries in your life. New boundaries, folks, new boundaries, a new you. This is forging. This is like forging the steel. They have to melt the metal and get it all molten and bubbling up, which is what's happening emotionally. It's that forging process. You have to heat. You have to heat the materials that you're forging here, and that can cause it to bubble. And that's toxic emotion. But it's only toxic if you don't use this process, this boiling process, to then alchemize it and create a new tool, a new weapon to deal with. And my weapon now is the fact that A equals B. So now I can tell the rest of the family when I'm talking to them that this is the behavior I object to. And if they're not going to encourage him to change his ways, then I'm not going to talk to him. And that may be a bonus to him. But to me, from an adult point of view of being the bigger person, well, we found our limit. Found our limit on dealing with family bullshit here. So that's just an example, folks. It's an example of taking the most toxic emotional state that you can find and alchemizing it. It's a call for you to change your mindset. It's a call for you to change your behavior. And it's a call for you to stand up to bullshit, folks, to bullshit. Now, in 9 times out of 10 situations, in fact, 99 times out of 100 situations, I'm going to tell you to walk away or get out. But there might be some situations where you have to be there, where you feel you have to be there. You might be in a situation where momentarily you can't get out. So in the short-term fix, you create a new you create a no-nonsense you, and you get comfortable with discomfort of others now. Because the empath is usually the person that wants to keep the peace. It's been my default energy for most of my life. But you have to get comfortable. Toxic emotions, potentially toxic emotions. The alchemy is in realizing it's not your job to keep the peace anymore. You need to keep your own peace, folks. You need to put your own peace first. You need to feel better about yourself. You need to be able to look in the mirror and like the person who's looking back at you and know that that is a person that nobody's going to fuck with, folks. No one's going to fuck with you. That's what it comes down to. And that comes with risk. It comes with risk because some people might not like it. You might be lonely. It might be a very lonely journey in the short term when people think you're the arsehole. I'm very comfortable with people thinking that about me right now. I have no issue with it. I can tell you 100% aligned with my decision in this matter. Now, are there better ways to deal with it? Are there more peaceful sage guru ways? Well, I've done the peaceful sage guru, and all that gets is disrespect in this situation, folks. And you might find that this may be a common path for you. You might find that being nice, all it gets is you disrespect and repeat behavior on repeat. And this is toxic emotion. That's how toxic emotion is formed for an empath. Thinking you're doing the right thing and always coming back to the same result. Thinking you've resolved something by being nice and letting stuff go, but it's like a boomerang. There might be a time period, but then it comes back and hits you again because of no consequences. No consequences for bad behavior equals more bad behavior. So it's a sat nav, folks. Your emotional state is a sat nav to forge a new you, a new mindset, and a new set of rules and very clear boundaries where X equals Y. Bullshit behavior equals silence, and me very comfortable in silence, and me not going to do anything to help you in this zone. That's it. Done. Game over. And fair enough. If I never speak to him again, I can live with that, folks. If the behavior never changes, I can live with that. I will live with that. I'll be happy to live with that. I'd like to think that the behavior will change as a result of this, but now it's no longer in my court. I no longer have an emotional attachment to other people's behavior. Notice the critical distinction here. The alchemy comes when we lose the need for other people to change. This is the huge part of this equation, folks. This is the huge part of this equation. Lack of emotional alchemy, toxic relationships, toxic mindset and thought process comes when you believe it's the other person that needs to change. You sit on your righteous pedestal and you judge their behavior as being so wrong and you being so right. That's where the toxicity is. And it may actually feel justified. Like in my example, it certainly did. But it's a call. It's a call to action. And in that respect, my nephew is my best friend in helping me to forge a new me and a new set of boundaries and a new armor coating to go out there and to deal with any nonsense in the future. So there you go, folks. That is an example of emotional alchemy. Toxic emotional alchemy comes very simply from not expecting other people to change your mind, your boundaries, and your personality in a way that accepts that that person might not change, but also gives them consequences for not changing. Really important. And that might just be probably in 99 cases out of 100, walking out of their life. And there it is, folks. Toxic emotional alchemy brought to life with a real life situation and a here and now, and me feeling better for coming to this realization and actually owning it here in this moment. So there you go, folks. That is an example of toxic emotional alchemy. Stop expecting other people to change their behavior, and your world changes exponentially in a good way. There you go. There's the summary of the video. Job done. Slam dunk. Thank you very much. And if you would like more of my little ramblings, if you want to feel better easily, if you want to say no to bullshit, if you want to end the cycle of listening to absolute shit and bad behavior from other people in your life, then definitely like and subscribe, comment if you've got any questions. Ask away, subscribe to the channel, folks, and feel better easily. And if you want more of the same, there's another little video there, folks. So go and be yourself, draw your own boundaries, and don't expect anybody to change, and you'll be all right, folks.